A stock I'm watching, and Carrie has made multiple videos about it already, is Netlist. I've bought in some time ago when it was at around $4, so I already made around a 2x on it. But even though it seems like it may be a bit late to buy in regarding the latter, I believe that with the damages being paid out, if they win in trial, which I believe will most probably be the case, Netlist share price will increase to somewhere between 20 and 40 USD due to the probable amount that will be paid out when divided by the amount of shares they currently have outstanding. So taking 20, which I think is still pretty conservative, and comparing it to where the stock is at now, it still ranks around a 125% return on income, which is still very, very high. That's like the average stock market return over 11 years, and that before the settlement's due date in 2022. So Netlist's infringed patent was officially labeled as a seminal patent, meaning that its impact is so great that the technology space has kind of changed or shifted due to it. And this patent infringement has been going on for 12 years. Starting when Netlist showed Google their product, wanting them to license it, but being rejected just for Google to then allegedly steal their design and change the technology space with it forever with Netlist's design. And after the trial, Google will not stop. I don't think Google will stop using Netlist's patent because it's of much importance to their technology. So after having to pay out the damages, I think they will also need to pay royalties to Netlist for the following years to come. I don't know whether to label this as a swing trade or not. The settlement could arrive any day, but it could also be as far as 2022. Google has a tendency of wanting to postpone it as much as they can. So I wouldn't really expect it in the very near future if you look at their behavior towards it. But anyhow, I'll be holding the stock at least until they arrive at the settlement. Of course, I can't say with absolute certainty that they'll win the trial, but I'm pretty optimistic about it. And also the 20 to 40 price range, that's regarding some other instances of similar situations which I've researched and taking into account how much they were paid and comparing them.
The stock I'm looking at is Blade Air Mobility, ticker symbol BLDE. This is a company that basically transports people on helicopters and stuff like that, and they're working on developing these eVTOLs, which are like these like flying cars type of things. Like if you know the stock they're basically doing what they're doing. They're trying to develop that by 2025. If you look at the chart, right around $7 to $8, that's like support for it, and then it went all the way to 11 at the resistance, and ARK was buying pretty heavy around the support, and they rode it all the way to the resistance, and now it's coming back down to the support, and it's forming a double bottom pattern. ARK is also buying this pretty heavily recently, and if you look at the MACD on this thing, on the past, whenever the MACD has turned green, it's never been like a false green MACD. It's always had pretty decent uptrend. Right now, after heavy red MACD, it recently just turned green. So that's a pretty decent buy signal for me. And it also does have earnings coming up at September 1st. You do got to be careful with that. Right around the resistance, that had pretty heavy selling volume, and then it crashed all the way down to, or corrected to around the support at 7. And market's been pretty crappy. It's been red for the past month, basically. And so it's not moved a lot this past week, but this is a swing trade for me all the way back to the resistance. And I'm going to be selling at the resistance because it might go down and make a triple bottom. But for me, it's just a swing trade back to the resistance at 11. And yeah, that's basically it.
For me, for this week, it's a company called Vicarious Surgical, which is thought of as the next generation surgical robotics company going public through a SPAC merger with D8 Holding Corporation. The ticker symbol is DEH. They're working on a miniaturized robotic system for performing surgery integrating virtual reality with a great expensive freedom regarding the robot's arms for the doctors when doing these surgeries compared to its competitors such as Intuitive Surgical, where they have the Da Vinci and Sensus Surgical. This is a robot that is the size of a dime with 2 arms and a miniaturized camera on it that could go 360-degree, giving the physician 360-degree visualization feature, which makes the doctor actually feel as natural as if he were moving his own head. The robotic arm can enter the body with just one small incision because it's the size of a dime, where their competitors require like several incisions. If you go to their website, they have a number of really cool features, including 3D depth mapping of the body, full motion tracking, haptic feedback so the doctor could feel while they're doing the surgery, tone adjusting lighting, auto focusing, and also, as I said, integrating a virtual reality. The robotic arms also have the function replicating the wrist, the elbows, and the shoulders of an individual and giving great expensive freedom for the doctors when they are actually doing these surgeries. Again, comparing to their competitors such as Intuitive Surgical and Sensus Surgical. Now, this is giving the physician the ability to enable full replication of a surgery. And they say that it makes the surgeon feels as if they were actually transported inside the patient. The Vicarious system has 2 parts, which are the versatile robotic pedestal and the virtual reality console, where both units are compact and portable, taking up less than half the space and cost of the existing robotic solutions. And if you look at the news that came out in 2019, FDA has granted a breakthrough device status to Vicarious Surgical's robotic surgical system, which is the first to be awarded to a surgical robot, which covers the technology designed to shrink the surgeon and put them inside the patient. This company has received a number of investments. They have received investments from the Bill Gates Foundation. Another one is the Innovation Endeavors, which is backed by Eric Schmidt, the previous CEO of Google. And founder and developers of this technology, Adam Schass and Sami Khalifa, are from MIT and were former employees at Apple as Apple engineers. Based on the Fortune Business Insights, the total addressable market for surgical robotics was 1.46 billion in 2018 and is expected to reach around 7 billion by 2026. If you look at their price, it's a SPAC, but it's actually under $10 as of today. So I do think it's an interesting company to keep an eye on if you are interested in the robotic surgery sector. For me, I haven't invested in this company, but I am keeping an eye on this company and see how it will work out in the future.